Greetings, this is Fred Barstein with 401k TV. Just completed a TPSU program, and we're able to catch our esteemed adjunct lecturer, Tim Doherty, who's been with us since the very beginning. Tim, welcome to 401k TV.
Thank you, Fred.
I know you're camera shy, so try to talk up. Okay, if we ask you a few questions today.
Let's do it.
All right, so before we do, tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice.
Let's see, 31, almost 32 years in business, all with Windsor Financial Group, one company that entire time period. We are 130 advisors. We are an estate business and financial planning firm, and I am the retirement plan specialist.
Around Philly, Mid-Atlantic area?
We are a greater Philadelphia area, Center Valley, Allentown, Bethlehem, South Jersey. So yeah, we really cover the greater Philadelphia and broader area.
One of the things that we talked about was plan sponsors not reading documents and understanding, because this is a very document-driven, the DOL looks at what's written. That's all that exists. And one of the big things is with service agreements. So I know you just had an incident or an issue with a new client. So tell us about that.
Well, yeah, there was a situation where we see it happen a lot, where the plan sponsor is, when we are onboarding ourselves with them as their new advisor, or we are onboarding them as the client, they are of the belief that they may have a service agreement in place with a third-party outsourced fiduciary. It's not an uncommon practice in the industry that an advisor might attempt to not act as a fiduciary, receive compensation such as perhaps a commission, and fulfill an obligation by outsourcing to the third-party fiduciary, firms like Morningstar or Envestnet or whomever.
Right.
And oftentimes that plan sponsor believes the agreement's in place, but I can't tell you. They believe the advisor has the contractual relationship in place with that third party,
right,
between them, the plan sponsor, and the third party. The advisor is really the conduit to put them together.
Yeah.
And the advisor is not the fiduciary. So you properly said service agreements. Well, your investment fiduciary relationship should have an investment advisory agreement. That would be your service agreement.
Yes.
There would be a service plan, a fee structure, etc. What am I getting? What am I paying for? And then if it's fiduciary investment services, is it 321? Is it 338, etc.? And you would then look to the deliverables that are delivered by that third-party firm. You need to read through the contract and know, what do I have to do in order for this contract to be good, for it to be that I'm covered by their services. And what we find often enough, Fred, I'll say, is that fiduciaries, sometimes plan sponsor fiduciaries, believe those agreements are in place, and when they go check on them, they're not.
They're not. So the first thing is they're not even there, and then secondly, even when they're there, they may hope their advisor is acting as a fiduciary, but maybe that agreement doesn't. Maybe there's a third party, but they think it's them, which is a bigger problem with, the DOL rule, and that's under a lot of siege, but the DOL rule is still in effect, right?
Yes, and the DOL rule is still in effect. I know the Fifth Circuit has recently ruled to overturn it, and there's a lot that will yet happen that I don't think we can comment in this short amount of time.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's critical to make sure that your investment fiduciary relationship is understood, and that it's reviewed, and that if contractually you think you have a fiduciary who is a co-fiduciary with you, who would go to court with you if you got brought up into some type of litigation, there needs to be an agreement that's been signed and is in force, and the parties actually have a business relationship.
Right.
There's nothing being said here by me that says that this is not a legitimate business practice. What I'm saying is that far too often the advisor is undereducated, who I'm replacing, that either didn't go and get this put in place, or thought that they did and didn't, or in many cases the record keeper vendor who you do business with changed horses, changed who their provider was. Well, the old agreement is dead. This is what we just went through yesterday with a client we discovered their agreement's not in place. We believe what research we're finding out is they had one, but in the time that changed from going from one provider to another, they didn't sign a new agreement.
Final question. You've been doing TPSU now for, this will be your 6th year. You do 2 programs a year, so it's quite a few. Why do you do it?
It is one word, passion. The simplest connection for me I didn't know I was going to have came from when I was a kid, growing up and then became a teen. A strong influence in my life was my grandfather, my mother's father. And I looked at him as one of the best men I ever met, and a strong man. He handed me the keys to a car at age 16 when he was going through Parkinson's disease himself and approaching age 70. At 65, he lost his pension at Horn and Hardart. So that hit home. I saw what that looked like. That's not something that you'll ever forget when a man loses his retirement that he gave 49 years of his life for, which is what he did. So little did I know getting into the financial services business out of college that I would end up selling retirement plans, but I do and did for a long time. So I got into the ERISA space, and going through your program, doing the back research, seeing all the companies, the Studebakers, you know, the other companies that led to ERISA happening, right. Horn and Hardart was one of them. So yes, Fred, for me it's personal. I'm connected to this cause.
And the message is do the right thing.
And it's not hard to have a great retirement outcome if you do the right thing from the beginning.
Right, great. Well, thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Fred.
And thank you for watching 401k TV. Stay tuned.